Yeah, we're going to do a quick little welcome. All right, we'll get started. I know we're still waiting for a couple people to filter in, but I think you've met me before. My name is Nick. I'm the program coordinator of the Business Analytics program. Thanks to everybody who is here today. So today, of course, is the final presentations for our graduating students. So round of applause to everybody who's presenting today. As most of you know, these projects are with real industry partners trying to solve some real business problem. With that comes a lot of uncertainty, a lot of changes throughout the semester, and all of you have done a great job adapting to that. So I'm going to get out of the way. A couple little things. You have the list of times on that and that board right there. In the middle, we'll have a little break for coffee. So there'll be coffee at the back. It's live streamed at businessanalytics.niagaracollege.ca, so you can watch it, well, not now, but you can watch it later because it'll be recorded, or you can send it to anybody who is watching from home. And I'm going to pass it off to April, our associate dean.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thanks so much for all of the time and effort that you put into this semester. I'm a graduate of a graduate certificate from Niagara College myself, and so had a really great kind of experience in applying what I'm learning through very practical type of projects, similar to this actually, working with a community partner, supporting kind of their needs, helping raise funds in this case, in the case for my experience at NC. And so that kind of went with me moving forward. It gave me a confidence that I didn't have before I started as a student, to be able to speak to the work that I did as a student in the program. And so as I headed out in industry, into job interviews and that type of thing, I was really able to kind of lean on my experiences here as a student at NC, kind of as a grad, and how that took me forward. And so I know the same can be said for you as you head out into industry, and hopefully you're headed into job interviews, if not actual employment. I wish you all the best, but really lean into what you learned here. You'll be able to kind of talk about this piece that you've done even today. How you have been interacting with the partner, back and forth, asking good questions, kind of on both sides, and really developing your confidence in what it is that you've learned to kind of improve your skills. And so congratulations to you. I know you've got a few days left here with probably some last minute assignments and those sorts of things, but just think 1 week from now, it's all over, right? Hopefully you can sleep in next Monday. I don't know, go for a nice long walk or something that's not, not school, or at least for a bit. But anyways, just wanted to say congratulations. Also wanted to say thank you to your professors for Nick here in this course, specifically kind of helping you get through each step as you move towards the end and you're ready to do this presentation, the guidance that he provided. I know that you also took that to some of your other courses as well. So Brian also had a big, kind of part to play. And, these two professors have gone above and beyond, as you all are very much aware. And so let's give them a round of applause. We're really kind of excited for you as you wrap up your time here at NC. We wish you the best on whatever the rest of your journey kind of looks like. Keep in touch with us. Keep in touch with Nick and Brian, and we hope to continue to kind of celebrate your success as you move on into industry. And looking for the presentation. So thanks everybody.
Thanks very much, April. So we're going to start with double. They'll do all the introductions there. What I forgot to say is at the end of our presentations are about 15 minutes long. Then we have a few minutes for questions at the end. So feel free to throw some questions their way. I think one of the hardest things that a lot of these teams had to do was condense all the information into 15 minutes. So I know that they can all go on for a lot longer than 15 minutes. So feel free to throw them some questions. And whenever you're ready, go for it.
Hello everyone, I hope everybody is having an amazing day, right? Today I'm going to take you on an exciting journey of Double. It's a revolutionizing company that has transformed how bra fittings work for women. Before I get more into what the company does, I would like to introduce you to my team members. The team members are Nagosa, Akash, Shivam, and me, Kevna Desai. There are a few things that we have in common actually. The first one is that we all have a graduating program certificate from this very college in International Business Management through though they are from different semesters, like different intakes. And the second thing is that none of us have an analytical background whatsoever. Everything that you see right now on the dashboard, on the presentation in Excel, we learned everything in this program in the last 8 months. So let's talk more about what Double is. Double is a Canadian brand that is 100% owned by women. What they do is they have an app that helps you scan your measurements and deliver it to your home, to your doorstep. The company was founded by two strong women with a strong background in tech and fashion, Bryn and Jess, as you can see them right there, in their own fashion. The company is also supportive of sustainability and eco-friendly materials and ethical manufacturing process. Now let's talk about how the tech works, right? That's the most interesting part of this project. The tech that they use is an AI photogrammy. What they do is you just have to download the app. Once you buy the product, they send you a personalized link to your account. You download the app. The whole process takes almost 3 to 5 minutes. That's it. It helps you with, it gives you on-screen instructions of how you are supposed to set up your camera, how the measurements are done, how you're supposed to stand. And if you have any errors, it will also give you that, okay, you're not standing right. You need to stand like this. So it will let you know what is wrong and what is right. The whole process is done in 5 minutes, as I said before. And once it's done, you get the measurements you get the bra delivered to your doorstep in a few 5 to 8 business days. Let's talk about the project scope a bit more. The project scope that we received from Double was that they needed a lot of help with geo-targeting. So we help through this project, we are helping them leverage the geo-targeting for their marketing ad campaigns and also helping them analyze the email and the SMS subscriptions. The deliverables that we have for them are our report, a comprehensive report on how the workings of the R script work, how they can use the dashboard in the future without our help as well. Of course, every project has some assumptions in their scope, right? So what we are assuming, right, what we have in the assumptions here is that that the data that we have will help them derive insights and also help them with analyzing their future customer engagement. How are we doing all of this? We are using Excel for initial data cleaning. We are using Power BI for the visualization part, and we are using R for data extractions. We've also used library that is in R for getting that's called Tidy Census for extracting data on the US Census Bureau, and also Clavio, which is a third-party dashboard that is used by the company for their internal analysis. Now I hand over to Nagosa to help with the analysis of email subscription.
Hi everyone. So I'll be tackling one of our key deliverables for our project, which is email subscription and website engagement analysis. So since our initial meeting with our partner, they have implemented a full screen pop-up, as you can see here, which has been proven to be more effective than the usual small prompts that we do see on other websites. It is attention grabbing, and it does give the illusion of a gatekeep to the website, making a user feel like it's a requirement to proceed, the illusion, of course. Adding to that, it's useful for promoting key content and special offers. So all this leading to a conversion rate of 40%, upwards of 40% of engagement for our partner since. All right, so one of the key driving forces in this regard will be the launch of the company on Kickstarter on April 30th. So Kickstarter is a platform for investment and customer engagement, investor and customer engagement, excuse me. And in addition to that, other additional fixtures that have been added to the site in the past 4 months are promotional links, as you can see here and here, all this leading to the trend analysis we see here. All right, so this data set here tracks email, activity, site engagement, subscription behavior over the past 4-month period. So although we can't divulge specific figures because of confidentiality clauses, we do see that there is an upward trend with a few outliers, as you can see here. So the sudden surges are attributed to additional activities, promotional activities carried out by the companies, such as TV ads and magazine interviews. And I'll move on to correlation analysis of email engagement and subscription behavior. So the correlation table we see here illustrates a relationship between different variables. The variables here being users that actually open the email sent to them, those that are active on the site, subscribers to the mailing list, and those that mark the emails as spam. So the strongest relationship we see here is between the subscribers and those that are active on the site, upwards of 90%. So 90% of the time, if you're subscribed to the list, you will be active on the site. Another interesting takeaway is that 4 out of 10 subscribers will actually open the email, while 2 out of 10 will mark the email as spam. Moving on to our next deliverable, which is utilizing geocoding to identify specific target locations. I'll hand over to Sean to elaborate further.
Hello everyone. So today I'll be explaining the process that we follow to get the data that we needed. So for this project, we made use of RStudio and created an R script based on the criteria that was given to us by a partner firm, which was to geo-target the cities with the highest number of female who earn more than 100K annually. So at the very first thing that we did in our R script was load all the necessary packages that we needed for our project, such as tidy census, tidy geocoder, tidy burst, zip coder, and zip coder, and tidy geocoder. Once we were done installing all these packages, we had to create an API key which allow us to access those packages, such as tidy census data, which includes the data of the US Census Data Board, which has all the relevant information about the census data of the US. After we made the API key, we were able to access the data set, and then this is a really huge data set. It contains all sort of information which was unnecessary for us. So to pull out the necessary information according to our project, we had to load all the variables using the load variable command, from which we were able to take all the variables and pick the variables that we needed for our project from them and make use of those variables with the help of get access command. With this, we added 3 variables in that command: the geo, graph is Zecta. Zecta implies the zip code level information. Another variable was the full-time female income 100,000, which implies the females who earn more than 100K. And the other code is the zip, the code, the unique identifier for that column. And the next thing was the year. We took the year 2020 because that was the latest data that was available on that site. Once we were done with this and we ran, we get all the information according to the criteria that was given to us. But still, that was just a raw data. We still had to make adjustment in the data, like rearranging the order in descending order according to the estimate. Estimate is the total number of female in a particular location who met the criteria that was given to us. Once we were able to rearrange those columns, we picked the top 1,000 cities and ran them through a loop. Within that loop, the loop functions as it goes through each and every row 1,000 times, which takes a lot of time, and pull out the information according to the zip code using the reverse zip code. In addition, it also edits the income factor along with the zip code information and gives us one file that contains all the information related to the zip code and the income as well. Still, then we were able to finally create a CSV for 2020, but we decided that we needed to compare our data of 2020 with the previous data. So we decided to pull out the information of all the things that we did for 2020, but for the year 2015. And then we were able to create two CSV files, one for 2015, one for 2020. And the next step was to combine those CSV using the function full join, which allowed us to combine those two CSV and create a one CSV which had all the information that we needed, but still we had to follow all the steps that we did for year 2020 and 2015, such as renaming the columns, rearranging the columns in descending order, and running it through the loop. After doing all those steps, we were finally able to get the one CSV which contained all the necessary information, and then we were finally able to start working on our visualization, which was done in Power BI and will be explained by Akash.
So, as Shiva mentioned, that we have generated a CSV from the R script, and after generating the CSV, we put the CSV in the Power BI, and we made an interactive dashboard out of that. So let's go to the dashboard. Like, what are the components there in the dashboard? So the first chart shows as the land area in square meter, the total GeoID, household income, population density. And the graph over here shows the population, overall population of by the city, and these two graphs shows the difference of estimation of 2015 and 20 by state and by county, and there's a time zone by city as well. As we all know that USA has different time zone across the country, so there's a time zones. When we select a city or a state, it will show which time zone it has, and we had a comparison or estimation of between 15 and 20 over here, showing the exact number of estimate of 15 and 20 when we select any state or a city. And this graph is the main one, which actually shows the difference between 2015 and 20, like how many numbers the people have increased, or how many numbers the female have increased in the 5 years. And to control this interactive dashboard and to go around to the dashboard, we have two slices, one with the state and the city. We can drill down to state and also with various cities in it. And second one is the growth percentage. So we'll take a live example of that, like selecting the Colorado state. So we can see that every chart on the dashboard works properly and shows the exact number of figures, like how much the state in whole has grown between 2015 and 20, and also what are the difference. We can hover over this and see that each state what was the difference between each state. The difference has been calculated, and to summarize this all, we also got a table visualization over here showing the exact numbers and figures in the number format, and to see the exact location on the map, we got a map over in between the dashboard, which we can drill down through these buttons drill down it and see the neighborhood areas as well. So now let's talk about what are the factors that influences the growth in 2020 to increase the growth of 2020. So going over the key influencers, these are the three main key influencers which has influenced the estimate of 2020 to grow. The first one is the population density. The second one is the household median household income and the population in whole. So, what are the top segments which uh, what are the top segments that the estimation of 2020 more likely to be high? The first one is the median household income. When the median household income is greater than 68,000, the estimate of 2020 will go high, and the average of population density is greater than 10,000. The estimate of 2020 will more likely to go high. So now let's talk about what are the challenges that we face while doing this project as a team. We were limited with the background data. We didn't get any data from the historical data or the data which the company had. So we need to generate our own data, and the data for generating the own data, we needed to learn the R script, and that was the main challenge for us. And after learning R script and generating the CSV from it, the difficulty in selecting the city was the main factor of main challenge after that. So we drilled down with the difference between 15 and 20. Next slide will be the recommendations. The whole team in all recommends that the partner company should target the geo cities with the percentage growth, or like selecting 200% growth, so it can drill the state and the cities which have 200% of growth, and look around with the resources which the company, the partner company has, or the amount of money they want to spend on the marketing. So they can drill down to according to their resources between 200 or 500 as per they need. So thank you. We need to especially thanks Nick for helping us throughout the project, from delivering from the R script. He helped us from the scratch. He helped us getting the R script done very right, and he also helped each and every state of the project. Like we are generating meeting with the partner companies and also other professors. We took help of law, we took help of Zach, we took help of Lee. They all supported in a positive manner, and through their support, we came to this final output over here.
Great stuff. Any questions from the group? No questions? Okay, I got one. I'll start us off. If you had to identify one city that you would encourage Double to expand into in the US, which city would it be?
That will depend on the growth that we have created in this. Like there's a column which shows the growth percentage of each cities with how much percent they have grown from the previous year. I can show you. Like in these examples, if you want, like there are cities that have shown 1000% growth rate in those 5 years. Example case, there's only one city that showed that, and based on the scale of the city, they'll have to do further analysis on that city, but they'll get a rough estimate of the cities that they want to avoid and want to target, like these. And then you can also do one more thing. Like some cities that shown 0% growth rate. Like those are cities that they need to avoid. They can get the rough estimate and rough idea of what to avoid and what to choose on these.
Thank you. Any other questions?
If you have to take two key implications for the what are the two main recommendations for the company?
Like the main recommendation for us will be like rather than drilling down with the state and the city wise, they should drill down with the percentage wise growth. Roughly if you take like 200% growth to like 700% growth, they will as a company, the partner company is new in the industry, so they need to not target the higher cities with higher saturation, so they can select the growth percentage between 200 to 700 roughly, and target the cities or state. And the second one is that the partner company asked us to drill down to the cities. But when we were working on this, we figured it out that going rather than going on specific cities and investing money on marketing over there, they should go upon county or like on state basis, not rather than city basis.
There was one more thing. Like if you see here, this is the data for the New York State. New York State is the only state that comes on top of every list. If you look for the state with the highest number of females, New York is in the top 3. If you look for the state which provides the highest number of opportunities for the new companies, New York is in top 3. And in that, if you just look at the New York City only, you can see the total number of geo IDs 140k. In New York City alone, there are 140k geo ID, which implies as a zip codes that has the geo ID contains the estimate of the women who earn more than 100k. That's a highly saturated city. If they want to avoid cities like that, they can use the geo IDs.
Any other questions? All right, last round of applause. One photo, one.
You want the dashboard?
That's okay. Ready? 1 second. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Niagara Lake Senior Housing. So whenever you're ready.
Hi everybody.
Thank you. 1 second, 1 second. All right, go ahead.
Hey everyone, how's everybody doing today?
Good.
Awesome. So our project is about Niagara on the Lake seniors housing needs, since we'll get into it further. Let's continue. So we have a quick table of contents, project introduction, project objectives, data survey, collection of findings, analysis, and of course, conclusion. So first, we'll introduce the team. We have Richard there, he's our IT specialist. Robert, he's a computer programmer. Shana has experience in auto dealing, and he's also graduated in the International Business Program here. And Christian has a project management background, and he's also business analytics. And myself, Nazar, I have a graduate from the Supply Chain Operations Program here at Niagara College. So our client is Niagara College, the concerned citizens of Niagara on the Lake, especially the senior citizens, and of course Steve and Michael, who are our survey partners. They were the ones who conducted the survey we'll get into later. So a little brief overview about Niagara on the Lake. So Niagara on the Lake, as you can tell, it's here. It's located in the southern part of Canada, the northern part of Niagara region, borders Lake Ontario, and also Niagara River. It is a very popular tourist destination and lots of wineries. There's the Shaw Festival with theater, and it is designated as a National Historic Site simply because it has very many historical buildings, such as the Old Angel Inn. There's a little map on the right that shows the communities. We'll get into that on the next slide. So surveys, how we got this data. The survey was collected from November to January 2023, 2024 in the Lakeport and other news sources. Members of the Niagara Lake 55 and up were only eligible for this survey. The evolving needs of seniors and what is required to maintain the quality of life was questioned in the survey. Niagara Lake is one of the highest percentages of the senior population, people above 55. So the stakeholders are the region, senior housing companies, developers, of course, the community. Question types were such as whether they have assisted living arrangements or what are their preferences of income. And there's 5 separate communities in there. Even though it's quite small, 19,000 population. And how we got these maps was through R. We used dissemination areas from Statistics Canada. So we have 5 communities: Glendale, Old Town. Other is basically rural areas, Queenston and St. David's and Virgil. And the heat map on the right shows you the percentage of people older than 55, and it starts at 30, the lowest at Glendale, which is here, highest at Old Town, which is about 80%. And, question.
Hello everyone. Our next discussion is the objective of the project. So the first thing we did was to identify if seniors were really affected by showing some visuals that after the analysis that showed that actually they were affected. So how did we arrive at the conclusion? We break down the data into demographic, such as the subsidy, age, and gender. Through this work to integrate the data and do some thorough analysis on them. The next work we did was to analyze the data to determine the needs of the seniors, and then we validate them. So how do we validate? Because the data, some community were overrepresented, while some were underrepresented. So how do we balance this? The partners, Steve and Mike, gave us a routine that we applied to the data to be able to, so that the data can be all the communities can be well represented in the analysis. So the processes that we adopted or that we followed in the projects were as follows. The first, we cleaned the data and carried out some initial audit or preliminary analysis on the data, through which we were able to discover that the data were not well, some communities were not well represented. So as a result, we were able to get those within from the partners that we applied. And then after applying and carry out some further analysis, we were able to create a Power BI in our dashboard that shows the survey response, upon which we were able to extract our final conclusion. So we have some ethical concerns which we put as well into consideration. The first was to protect the data so that the integrity of the data are protected and the people that as well give their opinion as well protected from unauthorized access. The second was to respect the privacy as well of the data, okay, of people, of the respondent that give their opinion on the data. So the data, we know there are some biases that people give their opinion based on their personal experiences. We respect their biases and make sure that what we did give the actual representation of what they intend, and so that we're able to take off any misunderstanding from what they feel out for us in the survey. And lastly, by validating a proper representation of the survey using the meeting, we're able to get a very good visual that we're going to present in the course of the project. Thank you.
And thank you for still listening to us. So the survey was a very successful exercise. Over 578 people filled out the survey. But in our data exploration, we needed to validate with that sample size compared to the population of Niagara-on-the-Lake. Statistics Canada tells us that the population is over 19,000, but the target was people 55 and older, which Statistics Canada also tells us there are over 10,000 people. Our sample size was only 500, so we needed to determine that that's a good sample size to compare to the population. We used the website that told us we had a 90% confidence level that is a good data fit to go with. But we also had a question. We also had a question to answer if the sample size had a good spread of the communities. So meaning that does everybody has the same kind of vote? Being that we're trying to come up with a decision for this commission, for this community. So with this represented that there was an issue here. Old Town, this is a community in Niagara-on-the-Lake, had an overrepresentation compared to Statistics Canada record. So you can see that Old Town has 65%, while our survey sample had only 38%. So that's an outlier out there. And considering other regions also, Virgil had 11%, while Virgil over here had 20%. That's double of that. So this is in statistics, this is a very big issue because now you are going to be making decisions on outliers. So we needed to consider that in our data exploration. So part of what my colleague talked about was we introduced the weighting system, which the client suggested that, and we used it to categorize the data, Old Town, which was overrepresented, and other regions against other regions. So we kind of use the weight system to multiply the count of questions that was answered. For an example, you can see our weighted system. This was our initial analysis on Excel. So because of the multiplication which we did in the background, now Old Town has a similar representation compared to other communities. And this is where our analysis continues.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Eugene. So I'll pick up from here. So in order to draw much better insight into what we're trying to understand from the partners, we need to check one, if there is a need for senior housing at Niagara-on-the-Lake, if the people are even interested in moving into senior housing, if they can afford it, and are they even okay living here or they would want to move out. So from the data points we received from them, when we projected, we noticed that the females answered more. The females within the range of 55 to 64 years old were also interested. However, the females 65 to 74 were much interested in what was being asked. And the females came out to be the best in responding to most of the surveys. And the total population that also responded to this survey, we had the age between 65 to 74 coming up to be most interested in this survey. We also checked on the marital status. We noticed that a lot of people were married. Then we further went forward to see their financial standings. We observed that there were quite affluent people here who could afford a senior home or live in their own facilities. And then we also noticed that a lot of them earned beyond the average. Even those who were supposed to, who said they had to be very careful with their spending, were quite okay. But when we further went down to check on their parent housing, we observed that their housing, when we went to check on their housing, just a minute, let me do something. So when we went further to examine their housing needs, we noticed there were some disparities. A lot of people were living in condos and self-contained apartments. Much people were not in this. They were living in self-contained houses, not in apartments and condos. And we also tried to project. Sorry, thanks for the time. Okay, so something happened there. Please, I really don't. So we noticed that a lot of people were in this self-contained housing. We also tried to project the people that responded where they actually came from with a postal code. And as my colleagues earlier intimated, we had most of them coming from the Old Town region, a few from the Virgil, and then St. David. The other postal code we were somewhere close to St. Catherine's, which we could understand as seniors may not know exact postal code says. Maybe Google will tell you that Niagara and the Lake uses the same postal code. We also observed that a greater percentage within the age of 65 to 74 lived in these detached or semi-detached houses. And majority of our respondents also were living independently. Now, we looked at the future decisions. Sorry, the pen is messed up. So when we look at the future decision, we observed there wasn't a lot of it wasn't skewed towards people willingness to live out of the place. People always wanted to live in their own houses, but so unfortunately the chances. But when people were asked the most important thing why they would why they would live here or stay, this was their concern when we projected on the word cloud. It was on health issues, mobility issues, home and physical issues. Those were it. So I'll hand over to Robert. Thank you.
So for one of our main deliverables that our project partners wanted, it was basically cross-tabulation of basically by their gender, their age grouping, and their community would be the columns, as well as they wanted their financial situations, some preferences in future planning, and their household size, how many people live with them, and their community type. So basically, this is a quick example of the Excel CSVs that I cooked up in R. I have about, or our partners gave us about 50 different questions and areas of concern that they wanted analyzed. And we have 2 CSVs per question for them. So one will be the weighted total of people actually who responded, and the other CSV for the same question is the percentages, because it's more easily explainable in percentages of changes rather than weighted numbers. And this was done mainly in R programming, and with some exceptions of do some things manually in Excel, and so yeah, in conclusion, the community of Niagara on the Lake is aging rapidly, and since most of the senior population lives in their own homes, there's going to be a great need for projects and help for these older people to still live in their own homes. And soon, some of these people will be able to not be living in their homes with assistance. So more projects will be to house these people as they age and are unable to take care of themselves. So thank you for your time, and that's it for our presentation.
Thank you. Any questions from the group? Okay, I'll start off with a question. What do you think was the most surprising insight that you gained from the results of the survey?
Well, the overrepresentation of Old Town was very major for us, and we had to also confirm that from Stats Canada. And then with the client's help, introducing the weighting system to kind of give a very balanced preference for the community.
actually the weighting system and how they sort of weighted down Old Town because it's more overrepresented, so it wouldn't affect the whole Niagara on the Lake. Was very interesting to me because it's technically weighting down people's votes counting, or not votes but respondents counting less, but they can't also talk for the whole of Niagara on the Lake as well. And we didn't get as many responses as we could from all the other areas.
And to add to what my colleague just said, from our visualization, we noticed that although the committee had expressed interest in having seniors housing, majority of them were not interested in it. So you could see that not likely at all was all carried a day for all of the questions that were asked, either to move in with a long-term facility home or move into a family or get into a granny flat or any other kind of housing. People love their homes and they would prefer to have assistance in their homes. And also, there was quite another insightful distribution here that people were living alone without any assistance. So that also goes to tell that these people were quite okay.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Talking about the ethical concerns in the city of so have you taken any litigation steps to handle those ethical concerns like standardized?
Yes. So for the ethical concern of not having the stuff leak out, for instance, we all signed a non-disclosure agreement to not obviously leak out any of this data. But for survey bias, so we do understand that the people who do this survey are going to be more interested in the problems that they face as they age. So we do realize that there is some bias there, and there isn't really any way that we can mitigate the bias in our survey results from that aspect. Is that what you're asking? Yes. So we just basically want to prevent ourselves from misrepresenting the data in a way that might influence decisions or anything like that. So we want to give them our partners and whoever wants to view this later. They know they're going to be taking this to their group and sharing with the government to prove a problem, I believe. And we didn't want to have our findings sort of. We didn't want to. Misrepresent. Yeah, what the actual problems are. Yeah.
That's great. Any other questions? No? Awesome. Before you shut the screen down, take one photo.
Oh, yeah.
Ready? Awesome. Thank you. Okay, next up we have the Hope Center. What?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, professors. And so, hope has heart, hope is stability, and we are the Hope Center. My name is Chirag, and I have a background in business administration and tourism.
I'm Prachi. I have a background in IT.
My name is Ankit. I have a background in marketing.
And my name is Maria, and my background is in marketing and business management. Moving forward, we're gonna talk about what's the Hope Center. It's an established presence in Western region since 1974. Their dedication lies in empowering residents through community services as lunch programs, food bank, and stability programs, housing stability programs. Now we're gonna talk about our objective. Our principal goal was to build a forecasting model, integrating geospatial map, demographic, and economic data, um, collected all for comprehensive stock management in one. These results help the stock management into the streamlined operations, optimize stock and community support.
So now we're going to dive into the data that we used in our project. So link to feed was the website, the portal from where we received all our data from. And there were three types of data that we used in our project. First was the demographic data of all the individuals that visited Hope Center. Second was the location data, which were the addresses of those individuals. And last was the time series data, which was a monthly and a weekly data of all the individuals that visited the food bank of the Hope Center. And we simply extracted these data into CSV file and HTML text. And we use tools like Excel and RStudio for cleaning purposes. So for cleaning the demographic data, we used Excel formulas like index, match, and VLOOKUP. The location data was cleaned using RStudio, and the major libraries that we used were Tidyverse and a library called ggmap, which is basically a Google Map service. And lastly, we cleaned the time series data, which was in the form of HTML text, using the Excel function of find and replace and concatenate. And then after cleaning, we used the demographic data to have an operational dashboard. Location data was used to create a geospatial mapping, and the time series data, which was used to create a forecasting. Now we'll dive into the different project models that we have.
So our first phase of this project was to build demographic collecting all the data that we have. We have demographic data, and we built an interactive dashboard in Power BI. In this dashboard, we can just go to the calendar that we built in the bottom part, and according to this, we can have a brief view of the individuals served from the Hope Center, categorized by the sum of the genders and the age. So here we have how is the trend going through the time since 2017 from 2023. So we have the graphic, and here is like that.
Okay, so now we are actually going to start with the first model that we built with our project. So this is a forecasting model that we intended to build for Hope Center. A forecasting model, actually what it does is it just gives you a predictive value that we can see happening in the future with respect to any data that you work for. Now with our client, we worked with the individuals served in the last 6 years. So this was something that we started to build, that was like a basic time series graph, which talks about the individuals that we could see progressing in the last 4 years. We started off with 2017 to 2023, but then we realized pre-COVID data had a lot of discrepancies with respect in comparison with post-COVID data. And that is when we moved on and we realized there's a lot of seasonality in the data that we could see. Now, again, COVID being an important event that happened in the future, in the past, and also the fact that since it's a customer-centric platform, like organization, where you could, seasons also play a major role in the number of customers that the organization can expect weekly. For all these factors, we realized with moving ahead on a model that was called as Sarima. So Sarima is nothing but a seasonality-based moving average model where we talk about auto-regressive data. So we started off building this model in Python. We used our basic libraries called num in the start, our matplotlib and pandas, and we then started off with plotting a basic graph. And at this point, we realized since seasonality is taken into consideration, we also had to give values to the model, to Python, to predict our values for the future. And we did realize at this point, we realized that we had to play a little around with the concept called as stationarity and dynamic aspect of our data. And that's when we could come with our final results. So these were the results that we could come with for the next 26 weeks that Hope Center can expect on a weekly basis. Now this also comes with another concept that is called as a bound, like let's say an interval, where we give a basic range as like a minimum customers expected and a maximum customers expected by Hope Center, and we also give an average value, which is a predicted mean. So when it comes to accuracy of a model, if you could see, the values are quite close to the actual values. So the yellow graph talks about the predicted values that our model could come up with, and the blue talks about the actual values that were the actual customers experienced by Hope Center. So we could see the confidence interval and also the accuracy was 95%. This is when we realized we could now forecast for the future values. And with forecasting, we came up with, so the blue and the green talk about the minimum customers and the maximum customers, and the orange part talks about the average customers that they can expect in the next 26 weeks. Yes, so this was something about the forecasting model. We have Ankit talking about geospatial map.
So coming to the final model that we have in our project is the geospatial map. So we have created a heat map of the Welland region using leaflet library and tidyverse and can census. So we have taken the low measure income from the census 2021 data and plotted into the Welland map. As we can see, the lighter areas of the Welland region are the higher income regions, and the darker sections are the lower income regions. We have also plotted the other variables such as total household income, population, and average age on the map. Coming to the second phase of the map, we have taken the individual served data from Hope Center and plotted into the map. As you can observe that the darker sections has denser data points, but we can also see exceptions where there are data points that are far away from the Hope Center. So we recommend Hope Center to get satellite food banks so that we can serve the Welland community better.
So when we talk about ethical concerns, the major part was data breach, since we had customer-centric information that included age, gender, where they reside, and also the fact that the actual location and the frequency of their visits on a weekly and monthly basis, which definitely could not be leaked out. So this was the major concern that we had to make, and also the fact that it stays anonymous was something that we only had to focus on in the last 4 months.
So coming forward to the future scope, so we have taken into consideration the other factors of the population of Welland region from the census data and adding another variable such as household served into our forecasting model to make it more interactive.
So moving on to the recommendations that we have for the Hope Center based on the insights that we have got from the analysis that we did, the forecasting models that you saw. The first recommendation is that we saw that major of the individuals that were visiting Hope Center and utilizing the food bag service were from the age range of 35 to 40, which contributed to 35% of the total individuals that visited Hope Center. So using that information, they can manage the stock levels and certain food items that serve adequately to those particular age group. And the second recommendation is backing the inventory management system using the forecasting numbers that we have provided. Using that, Hope Center can actually bring a big change in their inventory management practices, in their food bank service. And the last recommendation was definitely the satellite food banks that we recommended based on our geomapping codes. And that not only serves Hope Center to increase their outreach in the Welland region, but it also helps them to divide and manage their incoming footfall in the Hope Center food bank itself, which can also help them in their stock management practices too.
Any questions?
If you have any questions.
Any questions? Yeah.
For the forecasting model?
So with respect to the forecasting model, firstly it was because when we started working on the project, we realized our strengths and weaknesses, and that was the main reason why we moved on to Python. But if I talk about technical aspect, yes, our studio is quite extensive, but few libraries and also the fact that when you cleaning part could have been done, but when I talk about forecasting model, Python is more dynamic. And when I talk about also predicting, giving me there was a part where you talk about giving your model the best model fit. You know, when you talk about Sarima in general, there's a lot of values like when you look at seasonality, the P, Q, D values that you want. You do a lot of differencing. A lot of these concepts was something that we felt Python had more, I would say, like it had more positive points with respect to, in comparison with R. That's the reason why we went ahead with Python.
Any other questions from the group? All right, I got one. Looking at the map, it seems like there's some clusters around certain areas.
Yes.
Did you identify any specific correlations or any patterns that you could kind of pick up on as to where the visits were coming from?
So the first thing, if you look at the density of the map, let's say, for example, this is where the Hope Center is. You see the majority of the population that visit is near the Hope Center, and then there's a canal that divides the Welland region into two. The very first intuition that we had is maybe the transportation was a problem, that traveling from one end of Welland and traveling to Hope Center can be one of the reasons because of the transit that we have, or the individuals are definitely low income individuals, they might not have the car. So these were the very few things that came into our mind when we plotted the points on the map and had the first thought that this might be one of the reasons.
We also point some other food banks that are in the area in the map. So you can see there's another Salvation Army that is in Welland region. And here it's the Open Arts Missions. But it's still like Hope Center is like the major food bank that helps like all the people in like Welland.
Okay, I got one more question, then that's it. So part of one of the challenges of this project is the accuracy of the addresses of the clients. Maybe do you want to talk a little bit about that?
The accuracy when
How we got the accuracy?
So can you go back?
Yeah.
So I just
but,
said that for cleaning the location data that we had, we used a library called GG Maps. So GG Maps is a Google Map service where, for example, it's much easier to explain it with an example. If you just type the address of this college and say, like, I don't remember the address, but Taylor Road, 300 Taylor Road, Niagara-on-the-Lake, Ontario, Canada. The Google Map service will actually pinpoint, go to Canada, go to Niagara-on-the-Lake, and then look for the address that where 300 Taylor Road lies, and it will give you like the coordinates of that location, like the lats and longitude, which was where we had a breakthrough in our project, where Nick, the professor, and we talked about it, and he helped us out in getting that library through. So it basically we need to have a Google Map API, which was used, API key, which was used in the Google Map service, where we ran all the addresses through the ggmap library, and then we extracted the latitudes and the longitudes of those particular addresses of those individuals. And then it was simply running it through the leaflet library, where we plotted it.
And were they all Welland?
So there's a lot that we did. Not all of the addresses was from Welland. When we had a meeting with Hope Center and the CEO, they said that every address should be in Welland, but just because how the autofill function is of their backend service, where it autofills addresses if it isn't filled accurately, correctly, it will autofill addresses, and we had addresses from Toronto, we had addresses from US as well. US going back to Ottawa, British Columbia. So cleaning that, eliminating that, and that took a lot of time to go through, clean, parse it, elimination, and then running it back and merging different data sets, deciding the time range where if you go back, we had data from 2017. We can't go and find addresses of 2017, they might have moved. So to be more accurate with the data points on the Welland region, we took the data sets that was the most recent. So we went from 2020 addresses till the most recent that we have. So I think that answers.
Yes, that answers the question. Any other questions? Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, up next we have Niagara College Registrar's Office. So fairly close to where we are right now, just going down a flight of stairs. Great data set, and this team will walk us through the findings. Already? Go ahead.
So, hi everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today on this our Capstone project. So, our Capstone project is on NC Registrar and from the Niagara College, Canada. So, our today's agenda is we want to talk about our team, about client, what are the objectives of the project, how much time we took, and what tools we used, and the data analysis, modeling, and finally the dashboard. Now, moving forward with the team members. So, first of all, we have like I talk about myself. So my name is Pooja Mishra, and I have an academic background in business and IT, and I have a professional experience in business operations and analysis. And second is the Kehinde. So Kehinde has a background in accounting, and he has a working experience as a in banking center doing the compliance, marketing, and audit things. And next is Ajay Pal Singh. So Ajay Pal has an IT engineer with a robust background as a cloud engineer, and he has a blend of technical and management skills. Next person is Tomiwa. So Tomiwa has a background in the technology, focusing on the microbiology, and he has experience as a quality assurance. Next person is Jasmeet Singh. So Jasmeet has a experience like academic background in physics and mathematics, and he has experience in customer service executive. Next person we have Adams. Last but not the least, Adams has experience in physics and material science, and he has experience as business operations and analysis. We all come from a different backgrounds, but we all learn together in this course with the help of our professors, and we implemented all the skills to complete this capstone project. So moving forward with the client, so our client is NC Registrar of Niagara College, Canada. So Niagara College is established in 1967, and Niagara College has emerged as a beacon of excellence in the Canada's education sector and is offering a wide range of programs. So if I talk about the NC Registrar, it plays a pivotal role to embark the student's journey for the academic success at Niagara College. And the responsibility extends from to processing the applications to maintaining the students' accurate records and to providing a seamless experience of enrollment at Niagara College. And we all work together to enhance their operational efficiency and their like enrollment process goes smoothly. And they support the students throughout their academic journey. And next, we'll talk about the objectives. Tommy, will talk about that.
Hi guys. So our first objective is to come up with a predictive model that will predict students' academic standings for both international students and domestic students. We hope that we can come up with a model that can predict a student's standing, a student's success from his background, his demographics, his age, his what kind of program he's studying, what kind of certification he's going to be getting. So we hope to come up with a model that can easily predict that even before he's enrolled in the college. And our second objective is to come up with a very interactive dashboard to show the enrollment process, to show the enrollment trend, and also to help to study the enrollment trend and patterns in student success and enrollment at Niagara College. And also, we also need more emphasis in late applicants because our clients, the registrar, they are trying to figure out if they are spending enough time in late applicants and students that usually apply late after admission has reached admission has closed. So they want to know if it's really worth it, and overall to ensure the efficiency of that enrollment process. And finally, our third objective is to conduct in-depth analysis on the underlying factors and strategies that are contributing to student success as generally in Niagara College. Thank you.
So the tools we use in this project for communicating with ourselves within the teams and OneDrive, getting the data set from our professor and transferring within ourselves and submitting back for corrections and all. We use OneDrive and tools for communication within ourselves. Then we use R Excel for in-depth analysis, data cleaning, we use Power BI for visualization, and making reports and presentations like this we use PowerPoint. So because of the sensitivity of the data and the sensitivity and working with the data, we had the timeline with it. From collecting the data set from the professor, we had to make our project plans and collect the data collections. Then we started the second phase. We started that in February, cleaning the data with Excel and R. Then to the page 3, which started in March, data modeling, which we used KNN for an art studio. Then to the fourth phase, which that's what we're doing now. Hopefully, we don't get the contract from the school, the presentation. So we move to the next slide.
Okay, so I'll be talking about the data collection and data paying. So we got our data set from the Niagara College Student Services Department. It comprises of the student demographic data, the academic performance metrics, and then student enrollment information, both international and domestic. Now, we had 3 different robust data sets for fall semester, the winter semester, and the spring semester. So because of the robust nature, we had to clean our data, import it into our studio to combine each data set to a unified spreadsheet, and also check for, we employed the dplyr function to rename the columns for easy analysis and to make our data sets clear enough for our analysis. Then we also checked for missing variables, where we used NA to represent all missing variables for seamless analysis as well. So we also strategically segmented all the data set into subsets. Like the international students, we created a spreadsheet for that, and then the domestic students also created a spreadsheet for that. Then we also created a spreadsheet for non-enrolled and enrolled students. So that said, it made our analysis to really focus on our objective. So, so we're going to go straight to the next slide. So data privacy. So we implemented a very strict tool to ensure that all academic data that we got was shared within the group. So these tools were OneDrive, Google Sheets, and Excel majorly. Because we didn't want the data to actually move out of the group because of the sensitivity of the data. So for clients confidentiality, to maintain trust with our clients, we ensure that the client information is actually really the client information was secured with our very utmost discretion, and to also foster a collaborative partnership with our clients. We made sure that we ensured all our client information is not legal, and we ensured restricted access permissions to all data that we got from our clients. So I'm going to invite the next.
Analysis part of it, data that we have. For analysis, we have break down that data into these fast, high quality students, international domestic students, and this is what campuses they have chosen. Term from what term they are in, and credentials. Their credential is just their course name, that's what course are they applying for. diploma, graduate certificate, undergraduate certificate, advanced diploma, or graduation degree. And standing is the main thing in the analysis because we are here to predict the standing if the student is international, taking advanced diploma in background on Lake College, and what their standing is a good standing or Allah dismiss or probation. So we have total students of 8,748, and these students are only enrolled. We have enrolled 8,748 students, and in those 60% students are international and 40% students are domestic. And for the international student, we have seen that Niagara-on-the-Lake campus is the most preferred one. They have come to Niagara-on-the-Lake campus and not Rhode Island campus, and they have mostly come from fall 2022. And there is, and these, from all these international students, they have taken the Ontario diploma, Ontario certificate diploma as their preference, and they all have been good in standing. There are less students that have a lot of this called bad standing in general, and there is only 28% of students that are in bad standing in general. So for the next slide, I'm talking about the domestic students. For domestic students, their preference college is Welland, as we can see here. Their preference college is Welland, and we have done the analysis part here at Norton, Niagara-on-the-Lake campus. The 978 students of those international of those domestic students have come from fall, and from this analysis we have found that for fall 2022, most of students have come from that semester. And for domestic students too, the Ontario diploma is the most preferred one. And we have seen that here, that the standing of these students in domestic and international, 28% of students from international are in bad standing. On the other hand, there is 36% of students in domestic students are in bad standing. That is kind of the analysis that we want to distinguish them. So in next standing, that this third concern that we will have is late applicants. So for late applicants, there are only 593 late applicants in all of the data set, either enrolled or not enrolled. So for late applicants, these are the only students that have applied a month or half a month before the date is closing of submission. And there is most likely that international students are the most that have applied late. At 2 times, their ratio is 2 times more than the domestic. And if the international student has applied late, so there is more chance there that they are going to be in probation alert and dismiss like in bad standing. So the late students are going in bad standing according to our analysis, and the most of the credentials are in Ontario certificate. So if the international student is late and he is using the Ontario certificate, then there is most likely to they are most likely to be going in bad standing. Next, we are demonstrating the data.
Hi everyone. So now moving on to the fun part of this project, which was creating a predictive model for our NC registrar that they can leverage in order to predict the student success. So we have used different types of tools like RStudio, Azure, Positive Cloud, which is the RStudio Cloud, and we have deployed our model on the cloud for them to use. It is an interactive model, so basically they can input all the fields and stuff and check the standing of the student. So this is a snapshot of the R script that we have used, and I also explicitly mentioned all the steps that we have gone through. It's a complex process, but I've tried to make it as simple as possible. So for this, we have used our Tianan model, which is a machine learning algorithm. In simple language, it's asking your neighbors if they like it. If they like it, it's most probably that you are going to like it too. So for this, we have our total data set, which is the combined data set for all the 3 terms. Then we have selected all the required columns. For example, we have used students' age, what semester they would like to choose, what college they would like to choose, and their genders. Then we clean all the missing data, and for another important aspect for this model is to split the data set. For example, we split like 70%, we feed that into the model so it learns. And then for the rest 30%, we ask the model to test it, and then based on that, we give them accuracy to the model. We train the model and then we score the model. So this is all the libraries that are necessary we have used, reading our files. This is where we are splitting our data, and this is where our model is being trained, and this is for our testing. Moving on to the next slide. So in order to make the model interactive, we want it to be accessible by the user. It should not be not in the reports, which we can like show here on the dashboard. We try to condense all the information here. So this is where we have designed our UI. For example, we can get the inputs for the gender, age, campus, and then this is where our model is working. Now moving on to the working part, I would ask all of you to, if you have your mobile, so we have like deploy the model and we can use it in the runtime. And this is the best model that we have and is deployed online right now and is currently running. So for example, you would be able to see, like you can select the gender, male, female, MA, there's a drop down. You will see a drop down for age, campus, their GPA, and the credentials. And if you click predict, you would be able to see if that student is in a good standing or a bad standing. I would give you a couple of seconds to do that. To the next slide, which is again the standing predictor where a student is showing us a bad standing. They have all the inputs, male, age 30, selected right on campus. They have pretty bad GPA, 30%, and they were selecting these diplomas, no late offer, no late position, and then predict it gives us a bad standing. Okay, moving over to call Tommy to talk about the dashboard part.
So overall, this our interactive dashboard is giving us the full overview to understand the academic pattern and standing of students generally in Niagara College, and we applied the filters for both. As I said, we wanted to analyze for both international and domestic. So if you click to domestic, you can have a of how students excelled according to that academic standing by 10, and see that in falls 2022 they have the most more students were academically successful, and then by the credentials, we can see the Ontario Diploma Program as the highest by standing and account of age of students. We have most of students with good standing are usually between the age 21 to to 25, just between 21 to 23. And we also did by gender, and then we also have the key influencers to academic standing, and these are like segments, these are like combination of to predict the good standing. And if you pick this 99.9, shows that most times that most of the students in Welland taking graduate course certificates, and nothing in the fall session have 99% chance of being in good standing. And it goes on, and we don't really have time to go on to explain for bad standing alerts and all, but we all have the analysis that will help these tailor so help school come up with good strategies in helping students and identify students that are academically struggling with different programs. We believe with this kind of model, we can help, the school can help come up with better strategies to help students and overall improve academic standing in that college. Thank you very much.
Any questions from the group?
I do have a question. So, using your little prediction thing, the cumulative GPA, is that like the GPA of all courses then like added together? Or is that like
No.
the average, like it's hard to
So yeah, we have two models. We have for international students and we have for domestic students. So for the domestic students, usually their enrollment credential is different from international students. For me, as an international student, I don't need my former scores in my background. But for domestic students, their high school GPA, their high school credentials were considered in their admission. So that is why we couldn't deploy both. We had to have different processes in their prediction. So for domestic students, we included their high school GPA, which is very, very essential in predicting what their success will be when they get enrolled to college. So that's what led to the prediction. Yeah.
I was just wondering like what number ranges are like.
Yeah, so it's usually still the same pattern.
Usual, like average of.
Sorry, are you talking about the grading?
Well, I was talking about using your little pretty good thing. Like if I say the GPA, like if I put in like 4, it does say like you might be in outstanding. Is that like an unusual value? Is 4 low? Is like how does the cumulative thing work?
So you want to know the average value of the high school GPA, and if this value
Threshold, just like a regular value that
Are you asking for the
that field.
threshold value that beyond this point is good and beyond this point is lower than this is bad?
Kind of. Like what I'm asking is it like the average of your GPA or like the all of your courses
Yes, it's cumulative.
added together?
All of the courses
added together. That'd be why the 4 is low because you have multiple courses
Yes.
that where you might have 4, so you add them all. Okay, yeah. I was just wondering.
Also, like given the data, it has like multiple columns. So given the scope, we have tried to limit the columns that we can use. For example, the GPA one, that's one we use. For example, we can also kind of expand it where we can select the particular specific program they want to apply to and then check. But given the scope, we have limited and put up our best model that we have on the web.
Any other questions? I'll ask you the same question that I've asked a couple of times. What was your biggest surprise or biggest biggest surprise from the data?
The biggest surprise in this data is that we haven't anticipated that there will be more of domestic students that will be going out of bad study. We have anticipated that international students should be more that going on bad study because they are changing their academics altogether, like from their studies and from their professors, from their likelihood of study, that what they have been learning in their home country and what they've been learning in Canada. Because the domestic students are already familiar with this, so they will be more in good standing. That was a really good surprise for us.
Okay, thank you so much. So we're going to take a little coffee break now, and then at 2:45 we will move on to our next scene with the Hamilton Cardinals. Let me take a photo. All right. Thank you. Oh yeah.
That's it. I may be once you
Yeah, and while it's
my overall activities are very similar. Some of the things I like the way you're some of the other things that I start to think about, especially connected dots to talk about satellite phones, existing service or it's whether it's you run out of time, it's looking at the connection. You know, this 3-part techniques.
Because we made sure in the final part,
he
mentions in the recommendation part that the satellite impact is recommended.
Yeah, so it's a very classic model. So I really like a lot of things that I saw. Recommendation was absolutely clean. I saw the streamline method, which is good. Right? So that's very helpful. You can, I don't know, like some of the questions that I have for you when you're doing things are along the lines is, okay, you're going to have a report, right? You're going to have a PowerPoint presentation, right? So once you get into that, you want them to show like, okay, satellite. Then the question becomes, you know them well enough where this is a budget this year, next year, or something like that. Right?
No, the recommendation is good. So the question is, I'm always looking for actionable. Actionable. Yes. So you have insight. Is it actionable?
Like execution point.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really think that there's more application where this is what just like what you asked, is this a surprise to you? Is this a surprise to me? Because then that's the journey, right? So you have these three things, which is about the stock level, the inventory management. So I'm actually inclined to, I like some of the level thinking when you talk about the areas and stuff like this. If it's 35 to 40 years old, I want you to think not from your perspective, from their perspective. You are strong in the quantitative. So what is the qualitative? For example, in the social services, if I'm 36 years old, I come to you with that. I get good, right? How do you get me out of it? So you can connect to what we call peer services. Like for example, Access Canada, where okay, now you're gonna train me. I don't know whether it's writing a CV or whether I'm thinking of applying for the job. So yes.
Basically, our goal was to
Yes.
just more. I understand. They have all their areas that work.
Being in the scope
They
was
have
there was a lot that we could do.
Yes.
We wanted to do.
But that was limitation.
Yeah, Chris was food bank.
Because they wanted us
Yeah.
to work on it.
Just give us.
So
Because we can do a bunch of stuff. They have like program, drug addiction program.
you use a phase approach to things, whatever you're thinking, initiative in the future for someone to do this. Next phase. This is your recommendation for that, right? Yeah. Okay, so things are like me. Okay, where am I going? Where am I going in the next 3 to 5 years as a CEO? This is what I mean by
How to see your thing. So I asked him, what are your future scopes? He said, the ideal world is like, that's his, he doesn't look like a business perspective. It's like, the ideal world, we won't exist. He's a first one. To come to flight.
So the way you counter this kind of is that ideal is one thing in the pragmatic world, because I'm also closely hired in working with a local so I always think so these are the things. So you want a lot of good stuff. Whatever you do, I just get from good, better, best, every Japanese thing. So things are very clear, things are so they like less is more. So less is more good. And then that's why you give them these are the high level. All good positive. But if I'm thinking and say, okay, this is what I got. Cannot maybe just question how well you know if this is what your recommendation is exactly expansion. There's this game of asking, okay, this CEO, this is we have a budget. We have a budget. Yes, what do we do? Now you're what we call multiple.
Going to the budget.
But it's really
We wanted to get the marketing aspect as well, but they are not.
They are just trying to take
If you don't, if they don't want to talk to you, which is fine for whatever reason, then you use a strong man approach. If you say yes, this is what you would recommend that you go down. If you say no, this is what you go down. If you say maybe, here are the implications, then they say up. Because now you are leading. You got choices.
That trigger point is something that you like to ask. Like if you actually give them the possible outcomes,
Yes.
that positive.
They can have like, okay, it is a past one.
Initially, we wanted to give them a perspective where they could use the donations to do other things so that they could get more donations.
But they say they can ask for money, they can ask for so
And they are not even like streamlining their donations. That's the problem.
So
And we can even add new presentation to suggest us, let's say, that I don't know. You just also have recommendations for personalized and kind of give them the possible outcomes of that.
Is there anything that we need to do to change our content of what we are delivering?
I'm speaking to my client. Normally, my very first criteria is having to know my hobby and your background. Your pre-can packages, look, don't change anything. Look, you can shift tactically. I don't want to go there because I usually don't. Now, in the way that you handle stakeholders, there are many ways that you can do that. Right? You're doing this already, right?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know your industry, but sometimes the person has to be again, this is not your job, right? I'm just saying you have a dialogue. Focus on the differences in the conversation.
It's on HTML too. One way
Dialogue means you actually like for example, you need to re-emphasize, and actually I smile a little bit because it has been so long. True or not true? You look at it and I go, okay, not very experienced yet, but in the real world it's all the time. Which you need to the market value, the consulting value that we present as dollar associated. Then you use the word this is pro bono, this is but I don't like for me this is good. This is the house. So you need to talk about hey, talk about community support. I will get a drink from finance. Community support is a third objective. So you know, this is what they're getting. And you don't have to for let's say you don't. What you do is why don't you buy something what else?
Yeah, mine.
Yeah, mine. But
saving up.
yeah. But what you have to understand about not-for-profit is that constraints and so you can start thinking. I believe based on what I look at now, there's potential.
Yeah.
No, generally speaking, I don't see any major
Yeah.
but I don't comment. But you're ready. If you want to have a dialogue, you can throw it out conversation. Instead of
Really appreciate if you can
what time was it?
Because we have the board of governors at 5 o'clock.
on Thursday.
Basically, we have two things actually. One is with the board of directors, and the main thing is with the clients like yours, if they would have done the meeting them in person on Thursday. So before that, Thursday, Friday evening, we have to do things ready.
Because what I want to on
But you prepare in case you have a question. So somebody done this homework, I have 3 minutes to get a topic. And you stopping me from my food. Okay, wait. Okay, let's talk. Is this okay?
Yeah. Let me get back to you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Yes. All right. Hopefully everybody had a chance to get some coffee and get a couple of snacks there. We're going to get into our next 4 presentations. We're going to start off with the Hamilton Cardinals baseball team, the Inter-County Baseball League. Same league as the Welland Jackfish. But before I do that, I'd like to, welcome Evan, our dean, for a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is awesome. I love this stuff. I caught the last half of the last presentation. Apologies to everyone. I came as soon as I could. The reason I love this stuff so much is that I was a student here at one point in time. I did my undergrad elsewhere. I came here for a 1-year post-grad certificate. Sound familiar to everyone here, I think. And does everyone know who Stephen Covey is, by any chance? If I say the word Covey? Okay. Celebrated author, look into it. He's great. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, his book. And one of the things he says in his book is that knowing isn't knowing unless you know how to do. And I think it's projects like this and programs like this that help bring this all together, right? You take what you learned elsewhere, you come here, you start to apply it into analytics, and then you take a real life capstone project and you make magic happen. And so that magic it doesn't happen, I think, without your extra effort, passion, and our faculty members who do a really great job of it. So I'm obviously ecstatic to be here, very excited to see what happens next. Thank you very much for letting me join. I'm looking forward to it. Good luck.
And Evan is great in Power BI.
Oh, thank you. I also like Power BI, yes.
All right. Thanks. I'll get a go, you guys start.
Okay. Hi everyone. So our project, we did it in partnership with the Hamilton Cardinals. So my name is Brian Trev. I graduated from Broad in Sports Management.
Hi, I'm Tristan Fowler. I also graduated from Broad Sports Management.
Hi, I'm Riley. I graduated from Waterloo with a degree in physics.
I'm AJ Stosa, and I graduated with an advanced diploma here at Iron College of Sports Management.
So we're just going to go over a quick overview of our presentation. So, like I mentioned, our partner was the Hamilton Cardinals. They're an inter-county baseball league team that was founded in 1958. So anyone that is local, you might have heard about the Welland Jackfish. That is the same league they play in, and it's considered the highest level of baseball in Canada. So in order to use the data, we use the past games to provide strategic insight with the goal to help them reach greater success in the future. And some areas of interest that we kind of looked at in the past games that include some of the pitching stats, the batting stats, and then we also started to look a little bit into the different ballparks and how those factors come into play, along with umpires, because baseball is a sport where the refs can have a huge impact on how the game plays out. So some of the major goals and objectives that we had. The main objective we got from the team was very broad. It was simply that they wanted to win more games, and they just kind of let us go about it how we wanted to. So by using those analytical insights, they could help try to build their team rosters. They could look into who their opponents are, and also looking to see what kind of players they currently have and how to utilize their strengths and weaknesses in order to try to win more games. So the data that we use, we had to pull a lot of it ourselves because unfortunately we weren't given any data. So we started off just by using game results over the last decade, which we scraped using R just to kind of take a look at some of the ballparks and see if there's any ballparks that maybe have higher scoring than others, and just try to see some trends as well as the players or the team's success throughout the season. So for example, one thing that we noticed was the Cardinals tend to start off strong and then the back half of the season tend to fall off. So something that you can definitely take a look into. We also pulled the 2023 ball and play locations from web scraping in Python. So the play-by-play showed like a single to left field. So we would take that data that it goes into left field to try to figure out where players hit most often. So we got all that pitching stats from Point Streak, and then we also got all the play-by-play data, which we manually collected using a custom-made Excel sheet, as you can kind of see in the pictures here. So now we'll get into some examples of how you can use the data and some of the insights that we provide to the Hamilton Cardinals.
All right, so the first kind of aspect of the game that we looked at was batting analytics for the team. So the common batting statistics include batting average, runs batted in RBI, and home runs. And then we broke it down into more complicated statistics that tell more of a story about the data. So these stats include swing and miss rate, strikeout versus walk rate, and a heat map. So understanding these tendencies of batters can provide teams with great strategy. You can offset a pitcher to counter someone who's strong at batting in one aspect. So these insights really can guide a team in how to win a game or just increase their chances of winning. And so as a snippet, we looked at every player across the team. One that stuck out to us was Lane Renaud, who plays for the Hamilton Cardinals. And he's an extremely aggressive swinger based on his stats. We found that he had a relatively high swing rate, and he was a poor contact hitter, as his high swing and miss rate and bad walk to strikeout rate were key features that came to this assumption. We also found no noticeable hitting trends within the data for him. And so based on this, we would give the report that he should be pitched to around the zone and that he's likely to chase balls within the strike zone. And so moving on from here, we have the batting heat map. So we can see this is all from the 2023 season. We can look, we've mapped out every single double and triple that occurred in the field. And we can easily see, based off of this, that left field has the most activity. It's a majority of singles in this area, but it's very common to hit the left field, as many batters are right-handed with the follow-through. It leads to usually a left field hit. But what was more interesting is that we found that the right field is the most advantageous place to hit through. Almost all the triples that occurred in the 2023 season were hit to this area of the field, along with the majority of the doubles. And then moving on from this, we have the out heat map. So we can look at this. This is more of a traditional heat map compared to the other one. So the closer we get to white is the frequency of the amount of times that the out occurs at that location on the field. And then so we can see that center field results in the most outs across any location. So this place should be avoided by batters in order to result in a higher probability of getting runs moving through the game. It also should be noted that the outfield is the most advantageous, as hitting to the infield has a higher frequency of outs.
So next, we wanted to analyze pitching analytics for baseball. Obviously, with pitching, it's one of the most important aspects of the game. A lot of games can be won or lost based on pitching. So with your average basing statistics, you analyze stuff like ERA, strikeouts, walks. When diving more into pitching, you get more into sabermetric statistics and advanced statistics. This can include first strikeout rate, pitch type frequency, pitch outcome by count, and whatnot. And it really kind of tells us how the pitchers are and what kind of tendencies and trends they have, whether they prefer to go to perhaps a curveball or a fastball more often than a slider, and just kind of gives us a little more detail about how the pitchers pitch and what we can expect from that pitcher and use it to our advantage for offense. So kind of like we did with the batters, we wanted to analyze, we analyzed each pitcher, but Corbin P just kind of stuck out to us. The big thing with him is he tends to throw strikes more than balls. We found that he throws a lot of strikes and has a high strikeout to walk ratio and earned strike rate. We also found that it's difficult to hit, so usually he has a high swing and miss rate. So, normally when someone does make contact with the ball, it's generally either ground out or fly out. So the scouting report we got from Mr. Peters was that you need to be kind of patient against him. Aggressive batters will likely strike out or hit before contact, which can lead to out, which can obviously better defense. And then to kind of further analyze on each pitcher, what we did was we took every pitcher that from last season that's returning this season and kind of analyzed how they're on the count. For those who aren't familiar with the count, that's basically the balls to strike rate. So 3 balls, 2 strikes. What we did was we manually went through every single game and wanted to see how they fare in each count. So, for example, here, if you take a 1-1 count strike or ball rate, we see that Peters statistically has the best percentage at about 0.308. Or if you see at a 2-0 count, for example, we see that Main Prize and Lawson are tied with the best count at 0. So it kind of gives us a sense of in a situation where perhaps the pitcher is up in strikes compared to balls and vice versa, if they get stressed, what they're more likely to throw. So it kind of gives us a sense of what they might throw next, and kind of moving forward with this data, if we present it to an opposing team or the batter, they can kind of get a sense of maybe what's about to come next, or maybe areas that the pitcher needs to work on the game. It is worth highlighting as well that these 3 players here pitched more than about, I want to say between 9 to 12 games, where the Main Prize pitched about 5 games, so that's a little bit skewed. And these 2 here, Wilson and Boyer Howard, both came from different teams, but we're still able to kind of compare the stats and see how they are overall, and compare how they are in each count, who's more advantageous than other in certain games.
Yeah, next we're going to talk about the umpires, and as Brian said before, like umpires have a very crucial part in the game as they determine what their batting box and swing, where the balls and strikes are to them, so it changes between various umpires. We did find and notice that Ben Flesher, he has the highest strikes to balls ratio and the second highest in strikeout to walks. So what this means is that batters have to be more aggressive and open to hitting balls that are more in uncomfortable locations for them, and they have to swing out of their comfort zones and be prepared to swing at stuff that's high, low, outside, inside, because it's more likely to be called a strike when he is behind the plate. Next, we're going to talk about some ballpark factors. So every ballpark has the same dimensions that they have to cover, but not all of them are, not any one of them are alike in any way, sort of form. We've noticed that Toronto has the highest batting average on balls in play. So your strategy there when you go to Toronto is to just get balls into play, whether that's just singles, and just that's how you score your runs, and just singles, load the bases like that. Keep the pressure on the pitchers and whatnot. And then we found that Barrie has the lowest balls in play batting average. So when you are in Barrie, you got to really try and get what you can when you can.
So now, of course, as with a lot of analytics, there are limitations to what this data can do. One of the biggest things working in sports analytics for a few years is I hear a lot of sports analytics is ruining the game. The biggest issue with that is a lot of people using this data without knowing actually how to use it. So a lot of them are just seeing numbers and then they make a decision based off what the numbers are saying. So, and this goes along with all analytics, but really it comes down to understanding what needs to be used in what situation, and the biggest factor is understanding why it matters, because then you'll understand exactly which analytics to use and when. Especially in something like baseball, where there are hundreds of different metrics that you can use, it's easy to just get caught up in some numbers and just start throwing out random things that don't actually matter to the game, but if you make your decisions off that, it could lead to bad results. And then that's where analytics kind of gets its bad rep in sports. So just to conclude, so using these analytics, we're hoping that the Hamilton Cardinals will be able to improve their record next season and hopefully lead to a championship. So they can use this to help build out whatever's left of their team, looking at players from other teams that they might want to target for next season after that. And then they can also use it to try to find more success in games themselves by pre-scouting their opponents, looking at their trends, looking at their tendencies, and trying to find their weaknesses and attack those. And then again, at the end of the day, the biggest factor is understanding what we're giving them. So we want to make sure that all of the data that we provide them is easy to understand and they learn how to use it properly so that they can get that success. That's all we have, and if anyone has any questions.
Did you want to go to the Power BI?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So our Power BI, the dashboard is really built to help the team understanding each kind of factor we looked at. So there's a lot of metrics within it, as you can see. The red highlights the Cardinals statistics, the black represents the rest of the league. And then we've also compared it to green, that you can kind of see it here, which is Welland, which is the best team in the league. And they've consistently been good over the last decade, so they're kind of the gold standard that we looked at. So for batting statistics, we looked at a lot of different metrics. Like I mentioned previously, with swing and miss rate by players, number of in plays out by type, among other things. And then on top of this, we also looked at pitching quite in depth in the same way, comparing it to every team in the league versus Welland and Hamilton. And so, yeah, we looked at number of batters faced by pitchers, batting average on balls in play, first pitch strike percent by players, swing and miss rates. Yeah, there's kind of tons and tons of metrics. And as Brian was kind of saying, a lot of these stats are situational based on the game, based on who you're playing. And you really got to figure out what the other team's strengths are, and then go to the statistics and see what your strengths are, and then determine a strategy going into the game.
Awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, lots of questions.
The industry partners, in this case, the Cardinals, are they getting at the end of the project your analysis, or are they getting your Power BI setup so that they can continue using it with data that they can fish out?
Yeah, so we did. So we will provide them with the Power BI so they can kind of use it based off matchups. We also created a quick little Excel tool that they could use to input their own play-by-play for every game, so that they could keep kind of tracking everything throughout future seasons. Because as we know, sport will just keep going. There's always going to be new data to look through, and the data is always going to be changing. Because even if you look at last year, you could be looking at a certain player, and this year he could look nothing like he did last year, because they're always working through things in the off season, and maybe they're just having a bad year. So by having those tools, then they can continue trying to update the information that they have.
When you started with the data, what assumptions you have taken?
So we didn't have a ton of assumptions to begin with because we weren't really given a lot. We had met with the team, and pretty much all that he had given us was that they want to win. This is something that we assumed everyone wants. But so yeah, so we never really got any data, and it's also a level of baseball that we didn't really know about. And I've been to one wild jackfish game in my lifetime, and I understand baseball, but it's just a level of baseball that we didn't know about. So it was, I don't know if we really had any assumptions, but it was more just slowly trying to build it out so that we could start learning about the players and try to understand what kind of tendencies they have.
I imagine one of your recommendations is, of course, using the data as they go forward to the decisions. I was curious if you said there's one manual data entry.
Yeah.
Actually, there's not anything that exists like ballpark now or something similar to this level of the league.
Yeah, so what we did, so for every game, it provides kind of a pitch-by-pitch breakdown. So every player, it would just be one string of like ball, foul, called strike, whatnot. So manually, what we did was we just kind of broke it down. I just went through every game and would split up what it is, and then with an outcome and a location. And then it's just set up so that you create the number of outs and runs. So whenever it hits 3 outs, it'll automatically flip over to the next inning. The scores will update as it goes. And then it also is built out so that if you just want to look at certain games on their own, it'll give you kind of their stats that we use for the Power BI for just that game. But the Power BI will give you more data by looking at their full season stats.
Yeah, I guess my question is something like that. They have it.
Yeah, and it's something that apparently kind of exists, but as we talk to people, it's through a website called Point Streak. That's where we find all the play-by-play. But as we kind of asked, apparently all teams have access to Point Streak, but none of them actually use it. So this is kind of what we're trying to do is almost introduce analytics into this level of baseball.
Sounds like Moneyball.
Yeah.
Great.
Any other questions?
I don't understand a lot of baseball, but I just want to understand the data. So you were saying that the Hamilton Cardinals performance were actually, they start the season good and then it goes down, correct?
Yeah.
So at this point from this analysis, do they know how to actually go back again in the middle of the season, or the more data they input and analyze and all, using the why that you were talking about, then they will understand how to keep up their performance going up?
Yeah, so just based off timeline, it was hard to build everything out, but it would be a situation kind of where if we could build it out so that they could look at the stats from kind of that midway point and see what's happening. Maybe their pitches are getting tired and they're throwing way more balls than strikes, like they're losing their control. The batters aren't as focused or something. So if you can, like ideally we would build it out more so you can kind of look at different chunks of the season and you can kind of compare the numbers against each other, try to figure out what kind of stats are different and why maybe they're dropping off that way.
And injuries could play factors too, like with them playing, they're only playing 42 games, but it's still a lot when you're past your prime age of athletic capabilities per se, because there's guys that range from 20 years old in the league to 48. Like there's a wide range of age between each player. So like Brian said, like the health and the getting tired really affects these players, especially when they're playing 2 or 3 times a week, even at 25. It has a big effect.
So you can start the season with the other one and then continue with that one. Thank you.
That's great. Any other questions? No? Awesome. Well done. Let me grab a photo. Before you leave, hold on. Did you
Want some background? No?
That's all right.
Okay. You ready?
Oh, wait. So up next we have the Well and Fire Department.
I knew it was going to go. Yeah. I do have a question. So if I really got bored over the summer and I kept updating that Power BI, if I send it to you, then could you put like an update on the website?
Yes.
That was one thing that is like they're going to get us back. I was like, wow, we didn't really talk to them.
Yeah, if that comes and asks.
We get somebody to reach out for us. I was like,
But yeah, 'cause I've got a whole summer. Part of me just kind of wants to finish it. So because like we got all the Hamilton games, but there's a lot of other games so I also remember yeah, just the first couple chapters. Now I'm just going to that entire yeah. It's one of those sports that it's just okay, so like if you have all national students like because I mean that was the thing about it. It was like but it's even like when I went to go do that, it was like that first like half hour we kind of had to explain baseball, and it's like okay, I mean I know this, but
so my question then so people come here 1 month. What I do, I didn't get I like some of the ideas that is presented. For example,
You ready? Whenever you're ready, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank you all for coming here, and we are super excited to present our final capstone presentation in front of you all. So we did our capstone in collaboration with the Well and Fire department by analyzing their data and by getting the valuable insights with the help of tools like Excel and Power BI. So let's dive in and let's explore our insights that we have uncovered. So our project description is basically our project is about analyzing the emergency response data of the data of 4 years that is provided by the Well and Fire department itself. And our primary objective is we will delve into the factors that is influencing emergency response speed and to identify areas that are more prone to fire hazards. And of course, the third one is leverage insights to enhance
preparedness and increased efficiency in mitigating fire emergencies. Moving ahead, our project's objective. We have three objectives. First one is analysis. We will basically, as I already said, we will analyze the response time. We analyze the response times to emergency requests, and we identify areas that are more prone to fire hazards. Second one is we build a predictive model, basically a predictive dashboard that is based on the response time and the hazard data. Third one is enhancement. So our dashboard will help the well and fire department to aim to enhance their emergency response capabilities through data-driven insights. So before moving ahead, I would like to introduce my amazing team. That's Manjinder Kaur, that's me, Hagen, Damien, Anusha, Shubham, and Mansi. So I did my bachelor's in computer science from India, and today here business analytics is my first course, and I really like this course, and I have learned a lot of skills that will definitely help me in the future. Next, Hagen will come here and he will tell something about himself.
So I'm Hagen. I'm a business professional. I'm specializing in the mining industry. I have 2 prior degrees from South Africa, and this would be my 3rd course in National College.
Next, Damien.
So my name is Damien, and I completed my bachelor's in commerce, and I worked for 1.5 years in marketing as a Indian entrepreneurship.
Next, Anusha. Hi, my name is Anusha Varghese. I have completed bachelor's in commerce. Shubham.
Hello everyone, my name is Shubham Mangutra. I have a background in physics, chemistry and math as well as masters in English literature, and also I have a 2 years experience in administration.
Mansi.
Hi everyone. So my name is Mansi and I have done my graduation in commerce from India, and this is my second course in Niagara College, and the first one is supply chain management.
Thank you. Moving ahead, I would like to introduce our amazing client, that is Well and Fire Department. They're dedicated to the safety of our community. They are working for the community for so many years. Their primary aim is to protect the people, property, and environment. And we hope that our dashboard will really help them to achieve that goal. So we had this amazing opportunity to work closely with the department. We also got the opportunity to visit the well and fire station in the wellland, and also to meet with the chief, Mr. Adams. He's an amazing and cool person. He let us explore the station, and we also got into the fire trucks. We took pictures, and there's also coincidence that happened there was when we were there, they got the emergency call, and out of nowhere, all the firefighters came and they got into their trucks, and then they left the fire station within 60 seconds. That's amazing. So I want to thank the Well and Fire Department for collaborating with us and for helping us throughout this project. Now, moving ahead, I want Damien to continue with the assumptions.
So, we had some assumptions while we were studying. So, the first one was the data availability. We were assuming that we would get enough necessary required data to perform our analysis, and we were assuming that there would be less trouble for us. So, we were with less errors or blank areas. And the next one was resource availability. So we expect that we would be able to use software efficiently. We were expecting we would get tools and software with license, and we would be also hardware and tools for the analysis. And third one is stakeholder cooperation. So in that, we assume we will get a participation with from the team members and with the professor. We already got help from Nick with the geocoded data and the mapping. So, and also the data utilization, we expect to project the data. We expect to utilize the data and project goals, or what we are predicting, which will be according to our objectives. We assume that we could achieve our objectives. So our project scope was creating predictions and informed decisions by the response time and identifying the prone areas. So it will be helpful by creating an informed decisions and prediction, that it will be helpful for the team, fire department team, to efficiently manage the situation and also create awareness programs at the fire prone areas. So, and next one is inclusion, utilizing emergency response data, which have been given by the Welland Fire Department. They have given us a vast data set, like around 8,600 rows of data set. And next one is focus analysis. Like this scope in this we have to identify trends and analyze the way how it's perform, like how it's happening, or from the trend of happening these incidents. And the next one is outcome expectation. We aim to provide valuable insights and results from this data set, by which will enhance them to help the emergency response effectively. And that's it.
As Bonnie mentioned, that the Welland Fire Department is the remarkable client we have the privilege of working with. So they provided us with an extensive data set that included important information like alarm time, dispatch time, scene time, and injuries, and also the location information, and uh, and also that location information contains the postal code, and also the type of communication to the fire department. And these data sourced from the reports and response time logs of the fire department. And the tools we used for the analysis and the data management are first Microsoft Excel, Power Query Editor, and RStudio for the data cleaning and organizing the data by eliminating the duplicates and errors. And also we have for securing the data for secure data storage, we use Microsoft OneDrive. And in terms of analysis and visualization, we use Power BI for creating interactive dashboards. And also, communication is the key throughout our process. So we use WhatsApp and Microsoft Teams for project coordination and collaboration. And next, I'm going to talk about the methodology and technical concerns of the project. As the dataset provided by the Welland Fire Department is the basis of our analysis. So we clean the data, and also for analysis, we use for the analysis we use the separate code of variables. That they also provided us with the PDF of variables, and also we decoded the data through the Excel functions like VLOOKUP, and also uh, there are standard incident report codes for the analysis. And so by cleaning the data, we utilize the advanced visualization techniques for the analysis, and we incorporated the geocoded data for geographic insights, for understanding the spatial insights, and for the allocation of the response distributions. And through extracting the actionable insights, we formed some recommendations and decision making. And the ethical concerns we faced was addressed by through the non-disclosure agreement. We signed a non-disclosure agreement provided by the professor. And also, we prioritize privacy and confidentiality in the data handling. And also, we tried our best to commit avoiding biases and using this data responsibly. And also, we ensure transparency by obtaining the informed consent for data storage and usage. And also, we use the data responsibly throughout the project so that our you can see the results and findings of the coming slides. Now I call Hegel to continue this part.
So to start off, we geographically map all the major locations within Welland where the most response with emergency vehicles were. This can be seen on our dashboard over here. So it's mainly in heat map the areas on red. So further to that, we overlaid the median household income and analyzed, okay, so like, is there any correlation between like how many responses there are in this area to the individuals living there and their median income? So what we found is that certain areas, such as Market Square, Welland, West Main, and Crownland, they had typically a lower average median income, which may contribute to higher incidence of fire and medical risks in those areas. We do have an outlier, such as Portage, which has a bit of a higher median household income. So this could be due to possibilities such as high density of population. Then going on to our analysis within Excel. So we acquired a very comprehensive list full of codes, you can see here, from the fire department. Each of these codes correlated to a specific sort of emergency. So this was hundreds and hundreds of different descriptions and emergencies. So we had to find a easy way to identify these trends and to show it more accurately within our report, because obviously numbers won't mean anything to us. So those unique values were converted using lookups into our main data set to make response descriptions. We use lookup tables to also look up the property types, and overall we have to do cleanups to complete the data transformation to enable us to export this into Power BI to transform the data. Thanks. I'll now hand over to go on a more in-depth analysis.
So moving further to the dashboard. So we have created two different types of maps related to shortest and longest response time locations by the fire department. So talking about the first map on the left side, so we have created top 10 locations by longest response time taken by the fire department. So the longest time taken by the fire department was 36 minutes, and if you choose this location, you will able to see the information regarding this location in Welland. And on the right side, we have top 10 locations by shortest response time, and the shortest time taken by the fire department to reach at a location was just 25 seconds. And the reason for fire department to take longer, it might be because of the heavy traffic or under construction roads, or maybe due to weather conditions. And for the shortest time, this location, so it may be this location is very closer to the fire department, or maybe there is no construction activities in those areas. And also we have created different categories of fire, like electrical, false alarm, fire department. So if we select any of the categories, so it will show us the top 10 longest response time by fire department due to the electrical reasons, and the top 10 locations by shortest response time by the fire department in the electrical reasons. So whether it's fire, so you will see the top 10 locations for longer time and top 10 locations by shortest time. So now I will hand over to Mansi.
So moving further with the insights. So these, there is a response categories and a type. These four graphs are interrelated to each other. So in the first graph, there is a number of rescues by the fire department. We took the major three of them, like who have a lot of data. The most number of rescues done by the third. So it is around 3.7K, followed by the first and a second one. And there is a top 10 response types, like they responded to them. So there is the most of the department, like the if we talk about like collectively, most of them they have responded to vehicle collision, and the like it is surprising, like it's a fire department and they have like 372 in respect of 743 the response type. It's on the 8th position. And moving further to the third one, there is a number of injuries by response categories. Like the highest they have done for the medical, like they got the number of injuries more about the medicals rather than the fire. It is also on the third one. Like the first one is a medical, like number of injuries they have highest for the medical than for the false alarms and for the fire. And the last one, like how they will get a communication, like how will they connected by the people. So we have also created one more. So mostly they get from the ambulance. So if we click on any of the, like we will take the highest one. So if we took the third station, it will pop up with the data for the third one. So they also have the highest response type for the vehicle collision, and they have 94 just for the fire one. And after that, they have a number of injuries by response category, highest one for the medical, and they have the fire one is like on the last one. And after that, they have like we usually see like we have emergency call 911, but it's on a second one. But the most got the communication from the ambulance. After that, they will go.
Okay, so the next one is people associated with the ignition sport. We are taking gender and age. So when the fire department respond to that area, the most of the people, like most of the gender that have been in the area was male. Like if you are taking two genders, it was male, and the least was female, and the rest 52% was unknown. Like either they don't know their gender, or they didn't get the information from those. And looking at the age, the person which anyhow related to that areas where there was an ignition, like in the age category, 36% were people who are been between 20 and 39. Like the least one who have been in the sport was age of 0 to 9, and the second one is 40 to 64. So by looking this, the most people that have been in the area, like it may be related to the incident or like on that ignition, like in the sport. The most of the people there were spotted was age between 20 to 39. And that's it.
So moving forward. So we have created two more charts, bar chart and column chart for the property type. So in the first chart, we can see that we have created a chart for number of property, the count of property by the property type. As you can see, the detached dwelling, automobiles, multi-dwelling. So we have created a drop-down menu here. So when you select any of it, so it will give all the data regarding the fire department station number 1. And if you see, there were 14 cases related to automobile and 12 cases related to detached dwelling, like the major incidents in the automobile or detached dwellings or other property as well. And you can also see we have created a table for sprinkler system as well. As you can see, there were 74 cases attended by the fire station 1, and you can see that 70 of them there was not applicable. No sprinkler system was present in the 70 cases. Only 2 of them was activated, and only 2 of them did not activate it, or the fire was just too small. So that's it.
So after that, there are some recommendations. So we got a lot of like valuable data by using like different tools. So we gather the data by our collaborative efforts. We have the like insights from the experienced persons. We talk with the chief, and we have our professor to get the insights from them. And there are a lot of factors which we saw in our insights. The first one is the response time. That's the major factor like we use for analysis and everything. Response time is like how much they take a time, like the responders take a time to reach to the incident, because it will gonna help there to increase or to like give an efficiency to their response time. And they have a population density, like the response time depends upon the population size. So if there is a larger group, they have a dense population, they have like a lot of factors they have to consider while like arranging a fire station or fire station in that population. So it's also a major factor. After that, there is a community engagement. If we have an active community engagement, like they have a knowledge, they are actively like participating in these type of analysis, like they have a knowledge, then it will be a better factor to improve our response time. After that, there is like different recommendation we can give. Like if they are having a new equipment, they can give them a like continuous training, like whether they are new employees, like new responders, or whether they are already trained. But if they are adding something new things, they can give them a training according to that. And there should be a resource allocation. They should have to give them a like we have to ensure we have a proper resources available and they can allocate it properly, so that if anybody needs that, so that they can use it at a proper time. And for the community engagement, we can collab with the NGOs, we can collab with the local government, we can arrange the seminars so that everybody should have a knowledge about like how they can prevent the community from that. And there is a commitment to the safety, because they are already committed to save the environment for everybody, but they also have to take care of the prevention so that they can take that prevention, then they can safeguard their environment. So that's about the recommendations. So thank you everyone. Thank you everyone. It's been very
Any questions from the group? No questions? All right, thank you. All right, let me grab a photo. Okay, up next we have Arsenal. Oh, sorry.
Hello, everybody. Hi. My name is Lou. So I'm here to talk about the All or Nothing project, the Capstone project for the Arsenal Football Club, comparing two seasons, the Invisible season and 2022/2023 season, where we missed out on the top. So I am Oluwafaro Mibada. I have an MBA in international business. I also have a bachelor's in architecture. This will be my third degree. So my target client is me, an Arsenal fan who is concerned about why we couldn't win 2022/2023 season and why we let it slip away at the end of the season. Thank you. So So a brief history about Arsenal Football Club. Arsenal was founded in 1886 in Woolwich, Arsenal, where they started off. And then in 1913, they moved towards North London Highbury, NZ, where they took up the Woolwich from the Arsenal and named themselves Arsenal. In terms of English football, they're the third most successful club in top flight English football. They have a total of 13 league titles, 14 FA Cups, 2 League Cups, and 17 competition trophies. So my project description, as I said before, is a comprehensive analysis of two distinct periods in the Arsenal Football Club history, the basically 2003 season and the 2023 season. So the project objective is to examine and compare all the factors that led to the invisible season and their performance in the 2023 season. This involves assessing the team's strengths, weaknesses, key players, noteworthy accomplishments, and obstacles faced. So the data overview, I got my data from football web pages and I verified it on the Arsenal official website as well as the Premier League official website. Description, the data set consists of comprehensive details of the players, teams, all the teams in the Premier League in both seasons, just to analyze and make some recommendations using other teams as factors. Ethical consideration, the use of accurate and reliable data just to make sure there's no misleading information about any player and and also avoid anything that may compromise the integrity of this analysis. So use, I use Excel for data cleaning and manipulation. I also use Power BI for my visualization. I use Canva for my report writing and to communicate findings. And I also use OneDrive to store my data safely. For my data cleaning and manipulation with Excel, I made several data sets using various Excel files into one file. I created more calculated columns to drive into more insights. I utilized sprint panes to make my headers visible while I move far away from the headers. Data collection, I got a simple data set from football web pages. This is giving room for more manipulation. Data ethics, I followed measures to ensure that the data was accessed and stored in OneDrive. Again, I'm going into my analysis. So these are the two district coaches, Mikel Arteta and Arsene Wenger. In the Wenger phase, they had Mikel Arteta phase. They focused more on tactical discipline, building defensive solidity, and so on. In the tactic wise, they had 4-4-2, 4 defenders, 4 midfielders, and 2 strikers. Over here, they had a mix of 2 different types of formations, 4-2-3-1 or 3-4-3, depending. The key features here are quick transitions, emphasis on positional play, while here is the mix of physicality and finesse. For the similarities, they both have possession type of play. They have tactical flexibility. They emphasize on player development because most of the players that come from both teams are young players. They're academic players. So now I'm about to dive into the analysis using my Power BI dashboard. So for Arsenal, you can see that in the invisible here, in the invisible year, you can see that Arsenal scored 73 goals, considered 26 goals, and had a goal difference of 47, and they won the league with just scoring 73 goals. But if we go down to the 2023 season, we can see that they scored more goals. But and they had a similar goal difference. Why didn't they win the league? Now we're going to analyze that through this as well. Okay. They also had the same amount of wins in invisible year and 20. So why didn't they win the league? But still bothered, right? Okay, we're going to go towards the losses now. They had a distinct difference. 0 losses in this season, which made them invisible, They had 6 seasons. Why did they? What did Arsenal do in the Invisible season to to establish this? We're going to go towards they split their instead of having to lose games, they would rather draw. That would give them a point at least. So here they emphasized on their their draws in the 2023 in the 2023 season 6, while their draws here times 2. That means here, instead of having it's obvious that Arsenal lost they swapped their draws for losses here, which affected them. So now we're going to go to key players in both seasons. For this season, it's obvious here that from here we can detect that okay, Arsenal played with the focus of one player because just one player has a total of 30 goals. While over here, without even going down, we can see that at least 3 players have at least 4 players have a minimum of 10 goals, showing that there's more fluidity and not reliance on one player. Now, this is our top performer. Top performer is the turn in the Invisible season, Thierry Henry. He has a total of 9 goals and 9 assists. That's giving you a goal involvement of each game he played. At least he was involved in the goal. If you use the goal involvement technique, each game he played out of 38 games, he was involved in 39 goal involvement. He was involved in 39 goals. So that's giving him an average of 1 goal per game. Here we have various players who also did amazingly well. We have Gabriel Martinelli who scored 15 goals, had 5 assists. We also have Martin Odegaard who had 15 goals and 8 assists. We have Bukayo Saka who also had 14 goals and 11 assists. And this is my top performer for the season because it's the only player who had double-digit goals and assists for the 2023 season. Okay, so here I'm going to discuss the difficulties that we had as Arsenal. So throughout the whole season, we were on top for this season, and then towards the end of the season, we started dropping. Here, we maintained the balance towards the end of the season. Why is this? For my assumptions at the beginning of the project, one of my assumptions is that okay, player experience. Are they in their prime? The age of the players, the teamwork, and everything. So here I assume that okay, at first injuries here affected our players, and they're looking into it. Our defender Saliba got injured towards the end of the season, which affected us defensively because we had to face top opponents towards the end of the season. The pressure, the experience as young players, because this 2023 team, they are young players from the academy. The experience, the pressure of being chased by a team called Man City, put them to fall. Put them to fall because they didn't have squad depth to replace Saliba when he got injured in order for us to remain our position and break from our 20-year crisis of no trophy, no English Premier League trophy. And then okay, so I'm going to talk about the key influences of my players now. What influences goal scores to increase? We're gonna when goals per game goes down 0.14, the average of goals scored increases by 3.5. When I say this is for 2020, the visible season and this for 2023 season. When the average of goals when goals per game goes down 0.1, the average of goals scored increases by 5.06. Okay, so from my analysis, these are my top performers as explained before. Why is that? Because he had a 30 goal season and 9 assists in 37 appearances. He also had 14 goals, 11 assists in double digits of goals and assists in 38 appearances. For my recommendations, for Arsenal to win the 2023-2024 season, I'll say they score more goals, concede lesser goals, have more wins, reduce losses, and if possible, exchange losses for draws, at least in terms of away games and all of that. So just for a quick moment with everybody that's still here, I would like to have a quick question for all of you and see if you can guess. Oh, you said no the answer. Okay, wait. Nah, I didn't know you to guess. You, I know you see the answer. Anybody?
Left side might be Martinelli. Center is Cole.
The question who was the opponent of the game?
Yellow.
The question how many goals did Arsenal score in this game? It's just a guess question, just for.
I think because I'm an Arsenal fan, I think the opponent is probably Norwich.
No, it's not Norwich. But how many goals did Arsenal concede? How many? 3? Who scored the goal that was in this video?
Martinelli.
Okay, play. Let's see. So Arsenal played Bodo Glimt. That was the Europa Cup final that I watched. So that's a fun moment for me. How many goals did we score? We scored 3 goals, and then we considered 0 goals. But unfortunately, we still lost out on the European League. But I'm a goal scorer for the game was Nketiah for that particular video. Thank you. That's my. Any questions?
Good stuff. Any questions? No questions? Awesome project, and you went it alone, which is huge. So thank you very much.
Sorry for how you feeling after this
Not very well.
Okay, and our final project of the day is International Trade Group. Why not?
At this point, it's every season's a race for second. Behind City. Yeah.
Based on goals.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, we now start with a brief introduction of our team. I'm Tushar. I did my bachelor's in business administration and I have 1 year of experience in accounting.
I'm Pankaj. I have background in management and IT.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chetan. I did my master's in finance and marketing, and I have around more than 4 years of experience in an account.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kanish Trivedi, and I have completed my Bachelor's of Business Administration.
So our topic is international trade, the overall trade that Canada do, import and exports. We choose this project because we found we went through many websites and we didn't find any proper data of overall import and export. There was data, but it was not enough and it was too messy. Like not everyone can understand it. So we decided to make a dashboard which include overall import and export of the country.
So here is the flow presentation. First, we gonna tell you about our mission and objective of our project. Then the HS6 code. In the upcoming slide, you gonna know about what is HS6 code in import and export. Then data and the dashboard, the findings, tools, and the project highlights. So the objective of our project is to create a dashboard that is very simple to use, and anyone wants to gain information of Canada's import and export can easily extract information of Canada's import and export. So here is HS6 code. HS6 code is mainly a 6-digit code. So it's represent one HS6 code represent a category of product. So first 2 digits of HS6 code represent the chapter, and the second 2 digits of HS6 code represent the chapter headings, and the last 2 digits represent the chapter subheadings. So the HS6 code is mainly divided into 99 chapters. So the data that we use is around 100 million rows, and we use the different categories of data. It's from 2002 to 2022 the data that we use, and the data is we take that data from stats.canada, and in that data we analyze the trading partner 222 trading partner of Canada, and the HS6 products that is divided into HS6 code that are around 6,000 HS6 products, and the by using the dashboard you can also get information about the imports of like how much imports a province of Canada is importing from different country, like how much Ontario is importing from North America, how much Ontario is importing from India. So let's suppose a user wants to, let's say a user is trying to find the data about he wants to start a business of spices. So from the data, from our dashboard, a user of, okay, from the data, user can go like two ways. If he decided first that he wants to import spices from India, or he just want to find that from which country he wants to find that information. So from here, a user can spices. From spices, a user can find out any information related to spices of Canada's import export. So here is the top 5 trading partner that Canada import and export spices from and to, like China, India, Pakistan, Turkey, and United States of America. So if user wants to find out, like if user is growing spices, like a small farmer, he is growing spices and he wants to export spices, so he can also choose the data of only export. So here this graphic is showing empty because we only have data of import. In case of import, we can find out the how much a province is importing spices from any countries. So if we want to drill down this product more in deep, so we can drill this product in deep. So here we have top 25 countries that this product, that is the spices, Canada is exporting. So if we want to know about a particular country, we can also do that too. Like if we want to check for like Iran or maybe from okay. So this is the data of a particular country. Like if the user have contacts in Saudi Arab and he wants to import that product from Saudi Arab, so he can also find the data of how much spices Canada is importing from that particular country. So in the same way, a user also can find out the opportunity from this dashboard. So like if user wants to okay, if a company who is importing and have importing and exporting business and try to find out the opportunity, so he can also find out the opportunity in a particular country. Like if he found if he found to if we try to find a particular product in a particular country, that what are the top products from which country they are importing. So from like if that company wants to know the top product from Australia, what are the top product Canada is importing and exporting. So from here we have uh, we have all the data of Australia. These are the okay, Austria. These are the top five products that are importing and exporting from the Australia. And if we want to drill down that country, we can drill down in deep. So these are the 25 top products that are importing and exporting from the Austria. And if user try to find out only the data of export, he can do that. And if user wants to find out a particular uh, export and a particular product, and user can do that too. So by using this dashboard, we explore the top three products and the top three countries Canada trade with. So over to you.
So I'm going to talk about the key players, that is top three countries in the Canadian trade. So the first one is United States of America, and it has around $14 trillion of trade value, and the second one is China, and the third is Mexico. And the next is about the imports by top province. The first one is Ontario, because Ontario has the highest population, and also it has a well-developed infrastructure and a good industrial base. So moving on to the next slide. So you can see that among the total trade, it is valued around 20.85 trillion dollars, and among that, USA holds 13.53 trillion dollars, and China is around 1.5 trillion dollars. So the imports and export analysis. So as I said earlier, United States is the largest trading partner, and the reasons for the significance is mainly because US and North America shares the border, so it helps to it helps in the easy flow of goods and services. And the key product categories are they heavily rely on the energy products like petroleum, oil, crude, and natural gas. Also, they had a decline in the year 2009 due to the financial crisis, and also again in 2020 due to the pandemic, and it caused disruption in the supply chain. And the second largest trading partner is
China, and the key product categories are digital devices like keyboard, CPU, etc. And they had a huge surge in the year 2009. Sorry, 2008, and they had a huge decline in the year 2020 due to the decline. Sorry, due to the COVID pandemic. And then the next is about Mexico, the third largest trading partner. The key products are automotive exports, including the automobiles with reciprocating piston engines. So they had a huge surge in the year 2008 because there was um, increase in the North American automobile industry, and also there was a decline in the 2020 due to the COVID pandemic. So moving on to the
So the top three products that Canada trade in, so the first one is petroleum and oils, which is around $1.81 trillion, and followed by automobiles, which is around 1.4 trillion, and the third one is natural gas, which is $438.74 billion. As we can see in the trend, in year 2008, in year 2008, we can see that there is a dip in our graph, and the reason was the global crisis and the recession. Because of that recession, the petrol prices goes high, which was around $1.47 per barrel in the month of July in 2008. In the case of natural gas, it trend downward since 2009. It still trend downward because the modern change in environmental regulation and advanced technology.
So lastly, we have discussed the tools that we have used to conclude our research. So the first tool that we used is Python, which was used for data modeling and data cleaning. The second one we have used is Power BI, which is for data visualization that involves use of graphs, bar charts, slices, and so on. And third one is MySQL, since not all the data is huge in bulk and cannot be stored properly. So MySQL is where we stored all the data first. Then it was transformed and loaded into Power BI. The fourth one is the PowerPoint. And lastly, it's MS Excel, which is used for drawing brief analysis on the reports. Now we will discuss the project highlights, which is based on three key parameters. First one is the findings. The findings were concluded on the top three countries and the top three products, and which also involved a brief analysis on the reports. Second one is the customization tools, which was done accordingly to the user needs, means making changes in the fonts for those figures. Third one is the accuracy of the data, and it was determined by verifying with various web sources that that consist of various data sets from where the information was from.
Thank you so much.
Any questions from the group? I only have one question for you. How big was the data set?
100 million.
100 million rows. Awesome. No other questions? No? Okay, thank you very much, and thank you to everybody here. And that's it. Oh, yes, sorry, photo. Thank you. Okay. grab some snacks.
$10 a shot. I'm very flexible. Apple Pay also works. PayPal also. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's all good to go. Yeah, maybe we'll all go at the front.
If okay, come in too.
She's gonna take one. We'll stay in front here. Yeah, it's not a zoom lens. It's prime.
When I say come on, you Gunners, you say Gunners. Come on, you Gunners. Go Gunners.
Hey bro, only take it on my good side. Okay? Slide over?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like way over.
Like a little bit.
Yeah, come on this way.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Couple up, front rows. Yeah.
Okay. It's there. Yes. Good?
No,
Not yet?
We
can go like you're doing gymnastics.
We can go back.
Nick needs a new budget for camera.
Yes.
See, I'm supporting you. Nick. Closer.
little tighter on the left.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just. Yeah. Good, Damien. How are you?
Thanks, everybody. You're all done? Well, except for Wednesday.
Nice, 20. Just now it's $10, now it's $20. It's not market.
The lighting.
पूजा जी भी आ गए एक अकेली अकेली पूजा जी पहले इनकी फिर आपकी
What does that mean?
I said that
Single photo.
Single photo both of them.
You can take one of me, you Photoshop everything else. Right? That's how it works.
No, like
You don't know editing.
yes, you have. We are very proficient in R and Excel. No. Are you?
Stay. I want to talk to
Hello.
you. I want to stay.
साथ में हो गया ना साथ में खींचा ना बस भेज दिया
So, relief?
No. Until Wednesday.
Until Wednesday? Exactly.
yeah
It's okay, I send you the answer key. Don't worry, I will take care of you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
thank you
Thank you. You're an Arsenal fan. You can change this. That's all my No, that's, yes, sir.
So there's no R. $30. No
Yeah.
cell.
For him, $100. Father? So do I get to know your father?
Anusha also won
Yes. I'm just messing with you. You've never been a good boy. This is not new news. This is all information.
Oh, yeah.
This is all information. Right, Jasmine?
Yes.
Just now you can sell it after.
Don't worry. Yeah. If you hadn't chat and bus, then I will.
For me, I'm cheap. It's free.
Sure. Professor, you are like celebrating.
I don't know. I just make you guys work.
He's celebrating. Are you doing? Yeah. Okay. Fine. And it,
Or just
bro. You're a favorite of everyone, Tessa.
I don't know.
Yes, you are.
I make you guys work.
You're a cute guy.
Did I make you work hard? Damien, did I make you work hard?
yeah.
Should I make you work harder?
Yeah.
There's still a few more days, you know.
Yes, you.
No.
Arsenal.
I'm sorry, Arsenal. I'm Liverpool, you know, right?
Professor, we are like, you guys will never walk alone, so why not walk with us?
I mean, you never work. Now you're talking my language.
Yeah.
Come.
Never walk alone.
I think Arsenal might do it this year.
United. Is it a nice spot there? You have to come this way. Don't come here.
No.
See, the first one just now was free. Now the second one. Right? Correct. He's my agent.
Yes, sir.
Talk to my agent.
Business. Now we're talking about business.
I will leave in like.
But we have learned. Now we are applying. मैं बोला
All this stuff is kind of like like 50 will see the mouth. I want one special.
You talk to my agent. Talk to my agent. You can talk to my agent.
Thank you so much, bro.
Arsenal again. I keep telling him it's Liverpool. Come on, man. Which part don't you understand? I keep saying Liverpool. Okay, you're gonna be number 2. Liverpool's gonna be number 3. Okay.
Yeah. You know, Man City has to be tall. No, let's.
Good.
Hey, Professor Nick. Now it's your turn. Now it's your turn.
Only cash. He's my agent. You get 20%.
Okay, hold on. I guess I get stuck there for once.
Hey, go check out the agent stats, man. 20%.
We should negotiate first.